Ambassador Lee Daeho looked out the small window of his ship as they approached Nexus Prime. The space station was huge, bigger than any human city. It floated in the darkness between 3 star systems, neutral ground where the great empires met to make deals. "Sir, we'll dock in 10 minutes, said Captain Park Soman from the pilot's seat. She was young for a captain, but Lee trusted her completely. She had been his escort for 3 years now, keeping him safe on these dangerous diplomatic trips. Lee nodded and checked his papers one more time. Today was the most important day of his life, maybe the most important day in human history. He carried Earth's final offer to join the galactic community as equals, not as servants. For 12 years, humanity had tried to play by the rules. They paid heavy taxes to the 3 empires. They followed every law, no matter how unfair. They hoped that being good citizens would earn them respect. It had not worked. The Vorthok Empire treated humans like animals. Their soldiers pushed human traders around and took whatever they wanted. The Kalani Syndicate charged humans 10 times more for everything than they charged other species. The Rashti Collective acted like humans were too stupid to understand real technology. Lee's briefcase held proof of all this unfairness. Charts showing the unfair taxes, records of Vorthok soldiers beating human merchants, videos of Rashti scientists laughing at human inventions. Today, he would show this proof to the Galactic Council and demand justice. "Docking complete, sir," Park said. "The station security is here to escort you." 3 alien guards waited outside the ship. 2 were tall, thin Kalani with gray skin and 4 arms. The third was a Rashti, its body covered in metal plates that glowed with inner light. No Vorthok guards. That was strange. The Vorthok usually insisted on providing security. "Ambassador Lee Daeho of Earth," the lead Kalani said in broken human language. "Council waits. You come now." Lee straightened his tie and picked up his briefcase. "Captain Park, monitor the council session from the gallery. If anything goes wrong, I'll be ready, sir," she said quietly. The walk through Nexus Prime took 20 minutes. The station was like a small city with shops, restaurants, and homes for thousands of aliens. Lee saw species he had never met before. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange he could not understand how they moved or breathed. But he noticed something troubling. Every alien they passed stared at him with the same look. Not curiosity, not friendliness, fear. They were afraid of him, or maybe afraid of what might happen to him. The council chamber was enormous. 100 seats arranged in a circle around a central platform. Representatives from dozens of species sat in small groups, talking quietly. At the top of the chamber, 3 large throne-like chairs held the leaders of the 3 empires. War Commander Gextal of the Vorthok Empire was a monster, 8 feet tall, covered in thick scales, with claws that could cut through steel. His species had conquered 20 star systems through pure violence. Trademaster Vexoni of the Kalani Syndicate looked more like a businessman, but Lee knew he was just as dangerous. The Kalani controlled all the money and trade routes in this part of the galaxy. They could starve entire worlds by closing their markets. Tech Prime Koldash of the Rashti Collective was the strangest of the 3. Half machine, half living creature, with computer screens for eyes. The Rashti built all the advanced technology that kept the other empires in power. "The human may speak," Gexto announced, his voice like grinding stone. Lee walked to the center. Platform to chamber fell silent. He could feel 100 pairs of alien eyes watching him. In the gallery above, he saw Captain Park sitting alone among empty seats. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Lee began, his voice steady and clear. "I come before you today, not as a beggar, but as a representative of a proud species that has earned the right to fair treatment." He opened his briefcase and activated a holographic projector. Charts and graphs filled the air above the platform, showing the evidence he had gathered. For 12 years, humanity has paid taxes that are 5 times higher than any other species pays. We have followed laws that apply only to us. We have been cheated, robbed, and beaten. And when we complained, we were told to be grateful for the privilege of serving our betters. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some aliens nodded in agreement. Others looked uncomfortable. The three Empire leaders sat like statues. "But we are not your servants," Lee continued, his voice growing stronger. "We are your equals. We have the same right to trade freely, to defend ourselves, and to be treated with dignity. The evidence before you proves that the current system is not just unfair, it is designed to keep humanity weak and dependent." He clicked to the next slide. It showed Vorthok soldiers taking food from human children on a colony world. "This ends today. Humanity offers one final compromise. Reduce our taxes to the same level as other species. Stop your soldiers from attacking. Our people give us the same trade rights as everyone else. Do this, and we will continue to be peaceful members of this council." The chamber was completely silent now. Lee took a deep breath. "But if you refuse, if you continue to treat us like animals, then humanity will remember that we have other options." He closed the briefcase and looked directly at the three Empire leaders. "We came to space in peace. We hoped to find friends and allies. Instead, we found masters who think might makes right. You have taught us that lesson very well, War Commander." Gexto stood up slowly. His claws scraped against the armrests of his throne. The human forgets his place. "No," Lee said calmly. "I know exactly what our place is. The question is, do you?" Gexto's eyes blazed with fury. He reached for the ceremonial sword at his side, a weapon that was supposed to be just for show, never to be drawn in the sacred council chamber. "War Commander, please," called out a small alien from the back of the room. "The council rules forbid violence." But Gexto was already moving. He leaped from his throne to the central platform in one massive jump. The sword came free with a ring of steel. "Let this be a lesson," he roared, to all who would challenge the natural order. Lee did not run. He did not beg. He stood straight and looked a monster in the eye. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly. The sword came down. Captain Park watched from the gallery as her ambassador fell. Blood spread across the white floor of the council chamber. The other representatives sat frozen in their seats. Nobody moved to help. Nobody called for justice. Trade-Master Vexoni finally spoke. "The humans' proposals are postponed indefinitely. This session is closed." As the aliens filed out of the chamber, they stepped carefully around Lee's body, like he was just an obstacle in their path, like his life had meant nothing at all. Park stayed in her seat until the chamber was empty. Then she walked down to the platform and knelt beside her friend. "They have no idea what they just did," she whispered. She was right. Captain Park Soman's ship flew through space faster than she had ever pushed it before. The news of Ambassador Lee's murder had to reach Earth quickly. Every second mattered now. She recorded her report while the ship's computer calculated the jump to Earth. Her hand shook as she spoke into the camera. "This is Captain Park Soman of the diplomatic vessel Soul's Pride. Ambassador Lee Daeho was murdered today by War Commander Gextel of the Vorthok Empire. The killing happened in front of the entire Galactic Council. No one stopped it. Number 1 spoke against it. They treated him like his life meant nothing." She paused, trying to control her anger. The other Empire leaders supported the murder. They voted to reject all of humanity's proposals. They think they have taught us a lesson about our place in their galaxy. They are wrong. The jump to Earth took 3 days. During that time, Park reviewed every piece of information she had gathered during her years as a diplomatic escort. She had visited dozens of alien worlds. She had seen their military bases, their weapons, their ships. She had been polite and quiet, like a good diplomat should be. But she had also been watching and learning. Now that information would be used for war. Earth looked peaceful as Park's ship approached. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. It was hard to believe that this quiet world was about to become the most dangerous place in the galaxy. Park landed at the Global Defense Headquarters in Geneva. Director Choi Mi-young was waiting for her on the landing pad. Choi was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were hard as steel. She ran Earth's intelligence services and knew every secret the planet had. "Captain Park," Choi said as they walked toward the building, "your preliminary report has already been sent to every government on Earth. The United Earth Council is meeting in emergency session. Admiral Kim Tae-woo wants to see you immediately." Admiral Kim was a legend. He had never lost a battle in his 30-year career. During the border wars with the Mars colonies, he had won fights against impossible odds. When the alien empires first made contact with Earth, Kim had been the one to convince the government to try diplomacy first. He believed in giving peace a chance, but Park could see that something had changed in the old admiral. His office was filled with star charts and ship designs. Battle plans covered every surface. This was not the office of a man planning for peace. Captain Park, Kim said without looking up from his charts. Tell me about their fleets, numbers, weapons, deployment patterns, everything you observed. For 2 hours, Park shared her intelligence. The Vortalk had powerful ships, but poor tactics. They relied on brute force and fear. The Kalani had fast ships designed for trade, not war. They were weak in direct combat. The Rashti had the most advanced technology, but their ships were few and their crews were mostly machines. They have been fighting small wars against primitive species for so long that they have forgotten how to fight a real enemy. Park concluded. They think their reputation makes them invincible. They are not ready for a serious war. Kim finally looked up from his charts. Good, that gives us an advantage. How long do you think we have before they realize their mistake? They will not realize it until it is too late, Park said. They think humans are weak because we chose diplomacy. They think we have no military power because we have not used it. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Director Choi entered the room carrying a tablet. Admiral, the Earth Council has voted. The decision is unanimous. Operation Prometheus is approved. All restrictions on military production are lifted. The shipyards have been given unlimited budgets. Park looked confused. Operation Prometheus. What is that? Kim smiled for the first time since she had arrived. Something we have been working on for the past 5 years. Captain, we hoped we would never need it, but we always knew this day might come. He led her to a secure elevator that went deep underground. 3 levels down, they emerged into a massive command center. Hundreds of technicians worked at computer stations. Giant screens showed star maps, ship movements, and industrial production reports. Dr. Yang Jun-ho was waiting for them. He was Earth's chief weapons researcher, a thin man with thick glasses who looked more like a teacher than a warrior. But Park knew his reputation. Yang had designed every major weapons system Earth had built in the past decade. Captain Park, Yang said excitedly, perfect timing. We are about to activate the first phase of Prometheus. Would you like to see? He led them to a control room overlooking the main floor. On the central screen, a map showed the entire galaxy. Thousands of tiny dots marked the positions of planets, space stations, and trade routes. For 5 years, we have been placing quantum entanglement devices throughout Empire space, Yang explained. Hidden in asteroids, attached to trade ships, even built into gifts we gave to alien diplomats. The empires think they know where all our ships are. They think they can predict our movements. They are wrong. He pressed a button. The dots on the map suddenly changed color. Red dots appeared in systems that were supposed to be empty of human presence. Every red dot is a quantum anchor, Yang continued. When we activate them, they create artificial gravity wells that can pull ships out of hyperspace at exact coordinates we choose. The Empire fleets think they are safe in their own territory, but we can reach them anywhere, anytime. Admiral Kim stepped forward. The empires have taught us that diplomacy is weakness. Ambassador Lee died because he tried to reason with monsters. We will not make that mistake again. He turned to address the entire command center. His voice carried clearly through the room. Attention all personnel. Today marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. For 12 years, we have been patient. We have been peaceful. We have tried to find our place in their galaxy through words and compromise. They have shown us that they understand only one language. The room fell completely silent. War Commander Gexto killed our ambassador in cold blood. The other empire supported his action. They think this will teach humanity to be afraid. They are right about one thing. We have learned our lesson. Kim's voice grew harder. But the lesson is not what they think. We have learned that there can be no peace with tyrants, no justice from those who profit from oppression, no mercy for those who show none to others. He looked directly at the camera that was broadcasting his words to military bases around the world. Effective immediately, Earth is withdrawing from the Galactic Council. We are recalling all our diplomats and trade missions. We are closing our borders to Empire ships. Let the galaxy think we are running away in fear. Let them celebrate their victory over the weak humans. Kim smiled coldly. They have no idea what is coming for them. Captain Park felt a chill run down her spine. She had wanted justice for Ambassador Lee, but this was something much bigger. This was not just revenge. This was the beginning of a war that would change the galaxy forever. "What are your orders, Admiral?" she asked. "Take command of the Ghost Fleet, Captain. Your new ships are waiting in the lunar shipyards. Your mission is simple. Get close to every major Empire fleet and wait for my signal. When Operation Prometheus begins, I want our enemies to discover that nowhere in this galaxy is safe from human justice." Park saluted. "It will be done, sir." As she left the command center, Park heard Admiral Kim giving orders to his staff. Industrial planets were being converted to weapons production. Civilian ships were being armed and armored. The entire human race was preparing for war. Ambassador Lee Dae-ho had died trying to make peace. His death would bring something very different. The empires had awakened a sleeping giant. Soon they would learn the price of murder. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Lee's murder. The three empires celebrated their victory over humanity. War Commander Gextal had been promoted to Supreme War Commander for his brave action against the weak humans. Trademaster Vex bragged that human withdrawal from galactic trade had made the colony even richer. Tech Prime Kodash announced that the Rashti would no longer waste time studying primitive human technology. The galaxy seemed peaceful. Human ships had disappeared from Empire space. Earth's colonies had gone silent. No human traders visited alien markets. The empires believed they had successfully scared humanity back to their own small corner of space. They were wrong, Captain. Park Somin floated in the command center of her stealth ship, watching the largest Vorthok fleet ever assembled. 200 warships gathered around their home world, preparing for a victory parade. The Vorthok wanted to show the galaxy their military power. They wanted everyone to remember what happened to species that challenged them. Park's ship was invisible to their senses. Human stealth technology was 50 years ahead of anything the empires had. For 6 months, her ghost fleet had been watching, learning, positioning themselves. Now they were ready. "Admiral Kim to all Ghost Fleet commanders," came the voice over the secure channel. "Operation Prometheus begins in 60 seconds. Remember, we are not here for conquest. We are here for justice. Execute with precision." Park checked her weapons. One final time, her ship carried experimental quantum torpedoes that could tear holes in space itself. But more importantly, she carried something else, the quantum anchor that would trap the entire Vorthok fleet. "Prometheus activation in 10 seconds, Dr. Yang's voice announced from Earth. 5.4.3.2.1. Execute. Across the galaxy, in 73 star systems, quantum anchors activated simultaneously. The effect was immediate and devastating. Every Empire ship in hyperspace was suddenly dragged back into normal space at coordinates chosen by Admiral Kim. Fleets that thought they were safe in their home systems found themselves scattered and confused. Ships that were traveling between worlds were pulled into empty space where human forces waited in ambush. The Vorthok home fleet, preparing for their victory parade, suddenly found themselves surrounded by 200 human warships that seemed to appear from nowhere. "This is Admiral Kim Tae-woo of the Earth Defense Force." His voice boomed across all frequencies. "You killed our ambassador. You thought this would teach us our place. You were right. Our place is not among you. Our place is above you." Supreme War Commander Gexto roared his fury from the bridge of his flagship. "Impossible! Humans do not have this technology. This is some trick. Fire all weapons," he commanded. "Destroy these insects." The Vorthok fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons, missile swarms, energy beams, all focused on the human ships. For a moment, space blazed with destructive light. When the light faded, the human ships were still there. Not one had been destroyed. Their shields held against the strongest weapons the Vorthok possessed. "Our turn," Admiral Kim said calmly. The human fleet fired once. Just once. Quantum torpedoes punched through Vorthok shields like they were made of paper. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before broke apart like toys. In 30 seconds, half the Vorthok fleet was gone. "Surrender now, and your surviving crews will be treated with mercy," Kim announced. "Continue fighting, and you will all die." Gextal's response was to order his remaining ships to ram the human vessels. It was a desperate, insane tactic. It was also useless. The human ships simply moved out of the way, their engines far more advanced than anything the Vorthok had. The battle ended when Captain Park's quantum torpedo turned Gextal's flagship into space dust. The monster who had murdered Ambassador Lee died without ever understanding how completely he had been. OUTMATCHED. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The Kalani Syndicate's merchant fleets were caught defenseless. Their trade ships no match for human warships. Trademaster Vexoni died when his personal yacht was destroyed while trying to flee to neutral space. The Rashti Collective's advanced technology proved useless against human quantum weapons. Their computer-controlled fleet shut down completely. When human cyber warfare specialists took control of their systems, Tech Prime Cool-S last words were transmitted across the galaxy. How is this possible? They are primitives. The war lasted exactly 73 days. 1 day for each star system in the Empire Alliance. It was not really a war, it was an execution. When the fighting ended, the three empires no longer existed. Their fleets were destroyed, their leaders were dead, their territories were free. Admiral Kim broadcast a message to every world in the galaxy. "This is Admiral Kim Tae-woo of Earth. The three empires that oppressed you are finished. You are free to govern yourselves as you choose. Any world that wishes to join the new Terran Concordat may do so. Our only requirement is simple. No species may dominate another." The response was immediate. Dozens of worlds that had been enslaved by the empires requested protection from Earth. Species that had been forced to serve as soldiers or workers declared their independence. The galaxy was transforming from a place of empire and oppression to a community of free worlds. But Admiral Kim was not finished. He had one more message to send. Standing in the same council chamber where Ambassador Lee had died, Kim addressed the surviving members of the old Galactic Council. Most of them had fled when the human fleet arrived, but a few remained. 6 months ago, you sat in these seats and watched as our ambassador was murdered in cold blood. You did nothing. You said nothing. You voted to support his killer and reject his proposals. Kim walked to the exact spot where Lee had fallen. Ambassador Lee Dae-ho came here in peace, offering compromise and cooperation. You killed him for it, but his death was not meaningless. It taught us something very important. He looked directly at each remaining council member. It taught us that there can be no peace with tyrants, no justice from those who profit from oppression, no mercy for those who show none to others. Kim activated a holographic projector, the air filled with images of the destroyed Empire fleets, the liberated worlds, the celebrations of freedom across the galaxy. The old order is dead. The age of empires is over. In its place, we offer something new, a galaxy where strength protects the weak instead of crushing them, where different species work together instead of serving masters, where no being ever again has to die for speaking truth to power. He turned to leave, then paused. We have built a monument on Earth to Ambassador Lee Dae-ho. It bears his final words. Diplomacy is humanity's first choice, but it is never our only choice. Remember that. Remember him. And remember what happens to those who mistake human patience for human weakness. As Admiral Kim's ship departed from Nexus Prime, Director Choi Mi-young sent a final message to every world in the galaxy. The Terran Concordat is not an empire. We do not seek to rule you. We seek to ensure that no one rules you without your consent. The galaxy is big enough for all of us to live in freedom, but it is not big enough for tyrants. Captain Park, now promoted to Admiral Park, watched from her ship as the last symbols of the old empires were removed from Nexus Prime. The giant thrones were broken up and recycled. The ceremonial weapons were melted down. The chambers where beings had been forced to bow before their masters were converted into meeting rooms where equals could talk as friends. Ambassador Lee Daeho had died trying to make the galaxy a better place. His death had accomplished exactly that. The empires had killed one human envoy, thinking it would make humanity submit. Instead, they had unleashed the end of empires forever. The galaxy was free.